I read this book recently, just in January, and I want to talk about it. Hey everybody, so today we're talking about The Bookseller of Florence by Ross King. It's subtitled The Story of the Manuscripts That Illuminated the Renaissance. I don't know how I ended up reading so much about libraries and bookish type stuff. Maybe I'm becoming really obscenely nerdy in my old age, but this book in particular, I enjoyed it. I can't remember where I put the rating, somewhere between 3 and 4 stars. It's a value. I very strongly believe and maybe I've said this before, if you don't read material that's above your head, then you condemn your mind to the same low altitude it's been flying until now. That's a quote from somebody, I can't remember who, and I'm probably not saying it verbatim, but I really do believe in that. It's important. I have almost no knowledge of the Renaissance. Well, this month I've read 2 books, pretty heavily centered around the Renaissance. The other one was The Library by Andrew Pettigrew. He didn't focus on the Renaissance, but a pretty good portion of that book was about it. Anyway, this one is exclusively about the Renaissance, and the golden thread, the main anchor of the book is this guy called Vespasiano, one of the main copyists, certainly in Florence, but probably throughout the earth at the time, for preserving ancient manuscripts and manufacturing these books. This is just as printeries were coming online right around the Reformation with Martin Luther. But he wasn't a printer. In fact, there was a kind of a snootiness that these guys had, these copyists, towards the printers, sort of like what exists now with e-readers, I guess, or audiobooks. They put a lot of time and craft and expense into the materials and the calligraphy of these books, and they were really truly precious items by the time they were done. And this is what libraries consisted of. When people set out to either translate a book from a dead language or an old language, they put a lot of effort into it. And so you see how that process came on board, how central of a role Vespasiano was in that. It tells you about some of the libraries at the time that had some of the greatest collections and what sort of works were in there. It also talks about how the recrudescence of Platonic thought and Socratic and Aristotelian thought played especially within the Catholic Church, because these figures had been throughout history, but they really enjoyed a renaissance during the Renaissance period, because those were the books that Vespasiano and so many people were focusing on restoring and bringing to the public light. And you see how there was a lot of heresy around these thinkers, these old Greek thinkers, but how the Catholic Church came around to adopt many of their views because they just had to, as a matter of practical politics. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit out of my depth with this book. I mean, there's a lot of people that I was unfamiliar with. I don't know nothing about the Renaissance, but I haven't devoted a whole lot of time to reading in that era. And so it's, it was a value to me. Now I will recognize a few names, but even all the names that he had introduced you to, like, he definitely, went to the effort of introducing you to these guys, giving you background so you know who you're talking about. But there's still a lot of them, and it's like trying to think of this guy again. Who was that? I don't know if you're like me. I like it having an anchor, like Vespasiano. Okay, now I know about Vespasiano, and now going into any other story or during Florence, it was during the Renaissance in Florence. I'll have something, a sort of a mind map to put that in. So anyway, I enjoyed it. It certainly kept my attention, but unless you're like, a real catnip bibliophile or have Sudoku or something like that, you might want to skip this one. I think it did enjoy some commercial success though in its category. I saw somewhere, I can't remember where, but this was apparently a bestseller of sorts. Not that that means much anymore. Everything's a bestseller, it seems. Yeah, anyway, I would recommend it for somebody who has an interest in the Renaissance, and I'd probably keep my book recommendation to that. Thanks for stopping by. Let me know in the comments if you read this or if you have an interest in the Renaissance and have other recommendations along that line. I certainly have a mild interest in it, so it'd be great to hear from you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Hey everyone, I hope you liked this video. If you want more like the one you just watched, click the suggested video on this screen. Make sure you subscribe, and to connect with me on my other platforms, my handles are linked below in the description, alright? Take care, peeps. Till next time.